This is basically the best thing you can do in your free time, because you have power to do whatever you want, to learn by doing, to shape new ideas into new projects, and to excel as a young scientist. I think the most important point is to make clear that science is everything and everywhere. So whatever you do, whatever you see, whatever you eat, it's science in the end. You should encourage people to ask questions, because a lot of people are afraid to ask questions about science because they feel dumb, because they know so many things and others they don't. And so encourage people to ask any question they want. So I think a very good idea is to have open houses. Not specifically in university or in school, maybe some public space like the public hall of a church or the public hall owned by a city, and invite people for open discussions about scientific topics. And I think it's most important to give everyone the chance to be heard with his or her concerns, ideas and questions, and to assure people that everybody is important in this whole process of shaping ideas and changing the world, basically. You have to be very patient. And first of all, you have to listen. So I talk a lot about synthetic biology, genome editing, and so further on with all different kinds of people. And the most important point is, first of all, to listen to them. What kind of threats they fear, what kind of information they have, and just listen. And even if they tell something which is completely wrong from the scientific side, or which is not the way it's going to be, so there won't be superhuman powers endangering the human species, which is born naturally, just let them talk for a while. And when they are finished, they will stop talking, and then you can start to explain. But first, listen. And you have to break it down into very small parts. It makes no sense to give a huge lecture about genome editing or synthetic biology. You have to start with an example which is close to the life of people. So we all know that there are a couple of drugs which are based on synthetic biology, and you can always start from that point on. That's a perfect idea. Basically, that's what I'm going to do next year in March, together with colleagues from other universities. They invented the CRISPR Whisper. I don't know if you've heard about it. CRISPR Whisper is a lovely website with short films to illustrate all the powers of genome editing and CRISPR-Cas, quite obviously. And they are going on tour to places everywhere in Germany and opening up labs to the public. You can apply. I think the application period will start mid of December, and everybody can join the lab, and there will be experiments for 2 full days. There will be lectures on different levels, so for school children or for grown-ups with no background in natural sciences, and also for scientists who are a little bit curious to get in contact with the public. And there will be a science cafe in the last day. So I think this is a brilliant idea, and so far the roadshows they've done so far, they have been visited by more than 500 people so far. And it's mostly people with large concerns towards GMOs and CRISPR-Cas and genome editing. So this is really changing the public perception of the whole topic. That's perfect. That's absolutely brilliant. That's wonderful. Couldn't be better. Because nowadays most schools, they do not have a lot of money for equipment or even labware. And so just packing up your stuff, going there, telling things, and being a young scientist and inspiring school children to become scientists, or at least interested in science, it's wonderful. So the biohacker scene is a little bit complicated, because on the one hand side we have scientists who want to bring science to the public, and on the other hand side I think there might be people who are not in the very best interest when they do crazy things there. And nowadays everybody can pretty much do everything he or she wants with the equipment available. And I think you should very carefully check who is visiting these biohacking spaces. And there should be always supervision by people who really know what they are doing. and there should be, well, some control when people are leaving, that all the pockets are empty. But altogether, it's also a nice idea, because I remember the times when there was no internet and computers were still brand new, and there was the hacker scene, and in the beginning it was just these really crazy guys doing creepy stuff, and you know, it changed a lot, and nowadays the hacker scene, they are the good guys in the hood protecting the internet and everything else. And maybe this will be the way that the whole biohacking scene is heading to. Yeah, I heard about it. I think this is a great idea for younger people to get in contact with science. And I think they are more interested if they do it in their free time, in a cool environment. I've been there twice, and it looks really nice and very inviting. And you get to meet other people and to discuss it. It doesn't have this educational background, and it doesn't feel like school at all. And so this is another chance to get people involved in science, because still, there are not enough scientists in this world, and especially with young girls, they need to get a chance to get themselves seen in natural sciences. It's empowering. It's empowering, because I remember when I was a pupil, I had a wonderful chemistry teacher, and he encouraged us to take part in Jugendforscht. And in the end, it was only me from my school, because nobody was interested apart from me, and I couldn't enter on my own. And I was very fed up with that situation, because I had a great idea. Well, I thought it was a great idea, but I did not get the chance to make it real. I would have enjoyed it so much to be part of an iGEM team together with other schools, and I'm very sure that you can never be too young for science. And it's also a great idea, because when you're a high school student, you get to see what's next. You'll become an undergrad student in science, you'll become a grad student in science, and you can already make connections and maybe get valuable information about study fields, about projects where you could just join, although you're only a high school student. And it gets the people connected, because in the end we are all scientists. It doesn't matter if you're a 16-year-old very gifted young scientist from a school, or let's say 42-year-old slightly older scientist teaching in university. It's just one family, and you have to keep connected through all ages and through all places. We need mentorship. I think this is the most important point. Just 2 days ago, I read that when children were asked to draw a scientist about 20 years ago, 98% drew a man, and now there are 37% who are drawing a woman. And so this is a major shift. And I think you need strong female people to inspire young girls and young women in school already. So for the mentorship project I'm taking part in, it's called Cyber Mentor, and it's possible for women who are already in science to take mentorship for a school girl, starting at the age of 12 until finishing A-levels of 18, and you get mentorship for them for 1 year. And so every year I get a new young lady to encourage to become a scientist, and so far I've succeeded 11 times in a row. And this is a really great project, and it's open also to female students of natural sciences or any kind of mathematics, the MINT things. And it's available for everybody, because you just need a computer, and you do not have to have a great teacher who encourages you to take part in this mentorship. You just need to sign up, and it's free. And me personally, I will always invite the girls to Heidelberg to see the university, and usually they will take along the whole course they are in together with their teachers. And suddenly it's not only one person who gets to see everything of this, but it's 20. And I think we have to make very sure that women are equal in science, and there's no difference in, let's say, ability to understand mathematics and the natural sciences. And this is something that teachers have to take care of. There's still a bias when it comes to grading girls and boys in natural sciences. There's a lot of research done on that topic, and we just have to make sure if we have some young girls in families, that we encourage them to be interested in science. So I always give scientific things to my nieces and nephews. No matter what age you are, science is always the right choice. I think the best part about iGEM is that you can follow your own ideas. You can be a grad student, you are in a project, you have some supervisor who tells you what you have to do, at least roughly, and most of the times you're just so buried in work that you have no time to shape ideas on your own. And with iGEM you can a little bit step aside from your everyday work, and you can also connect with people from other fields, because usually it's not only from one field in the iGEM teams, but you get to know other people, you get to see other projects, and most importantly you get to go to the conference and meet other teams, other people, and in the end you will have a global network of scientists that you know even before you leave university, and this is very, very valuable when it comes to applying for a PhD or just seeing where you want to go in your future life as a scientist. So this international collaboration, I think that's a very, very good idea to do this at any age. That's complicated because it's very hard to get into schools. I tried a couple of times. I was offering expertise to schools here in Heidelberg for the last year before A-levels, that I offered to come around and just tell a little bit about things and stuff and maybe invite people here. Nobody ever reacted. And sometimes I have the impression that you have to make it a rule for schools, and then suddenly everything works. You have these mandatory topics that you have to teach in class, and this is fixed in general rules. And if you have to include, let's say, 10 hours for a practical project in either biology, chemistry or physics, and this is mandatory, then it would be much easier. But changing all of these rules takes ages. So I think your approach, just to go to schools and show them what you can do with a strong sponsor in the background, is the best way that we can do at the moment. And partnering up with schools with a strong science focus. We will never get science into every classroom, but if we have 1 or 2 schools per town, well, of this size, 150,000 inhabitants, which have a really strong focus on natural science, that's something. It's a start. Absolutely. Going back to your own school and telling about the beauty of science, it's the best you can do. So I became interested in chemistry early when I was about 12 years old, because there was a former pupil of my school who graduated recently with a PhD in chemistry, who came to our chemistry class in the very first lecture that I had in chemistry in the 7th class. And he would tell us why chemistry is important and why chemistry is interesting. And this was the moment where I thought, okay, if somebody is coming back to school and taking the time to tell me, being a 12-year-old girl, that chemistry is important, okay, I'll go for it. And this sparked the interest in me. And I also see it with the applicants for our bachelor program in the interviews. When we ask them how they became interested in molecular biotechnology, a lot of them tell us, well, there's someone from my school who's studying here and he or she told me this is a great program. So I think word of mouth is a very powerful tool to get people involved in science. So go back to your schools and tell them about it.